Hello everyone, sorry for the lack of videos lately. Life happens and honestly creating content is a pain in the ass. It takes a lot of time to work on these videos and props to all of you content creators out there. Much respect. However, I think you will like this video or not, but either way, winter is coming and it is important for people to be aware of what is happening in the market, get perspective, know where we might be headed, and prepare as you see fit. This video is relevant to you if you're currently a residential buyer, a residential seller, a residential landlord, or even a residential tenant. You'll want to hear this. I believe that there is a mass eviction wave coming to the country. This means more inventory and this means increasing price drops. We're talking about more than 10 million evictions is about to hit the US housing market. Starting anytime now in 2022, this wave of evictions has the potential to be worse than the subprime crisis of 2007. Remember that? According to the US Census, currently more than 13.4 million Americans are late on either their rent or their mortgage payment. Out of those 13 million, 5 million of them expect to get evicted in the next 2 months alone. Here's a scary fact. In the last 18 months, rents have increased on the typical American approximately 22%. During the same time span, the average wage of a typical American has only gone up by 7%. This means rent has increased more than 3 times faster than wages. So potentially, there's a massive wave of evictions coming at a level the country has never seen before. Just wanted to make it sound scary, but it could be true. To give you some perspective, the subprime crisis back in 07 to 12 that resulted in the crash of the housing market, well, that shit happened with around 10 million foreclosures. We have 13 million people currently late on their mortgage payment today. I'm not completely sure how the South Texas markets will perform, but cities like Miami, Florida, Phoenix, Arizona, Las Vegas, Nevada, Austin, Texas, San Antonio, Dallas, Houston, and any other metropolitan city like these are most at risk of an eviction crisis because that is where rental rates have increased the most. Now, as we see this developing in the larger markets, we can expect it to reach us here in the Rio Grande Valley at some point after these markets feel it. Data from the National Multifamily Housing Council showed that by the end of 2021, only 92% of rent was collected. This dropped from 98% in 2019. Progress Residential, who's the largest private landlord in America, revealed Q1 of 2022 that they only collected 87% of rent compared to 96% pre-pandemic. However, evictions haven't started yet, even though landlords are having problems collecting rent because tenants are not paying rent, and this is because of the federal tenant protections under the eviction moratorium. Also, for now, landlords are putting up with tenants being late or not paying at all because of the $50 billion subsidy. I think the trigger for this wave of evictions will be coming soon with the official recession. The recession is already here, it's just not official, but that accompanied with the Fed tightening and higher inflation, that will be the trigger. There are 3 things that government did that have provoked the chain of events that skyrocketed rental costs. 1 was the eviction moratorium, 2 was the stimulus checks, and 3 is a $50 billion rescue fund in renter assistance that went into the pockets of landlords across the country. The result of this was that tenants during the pandemic were allowed to remain in their apartments and homes when they couldn't afford them. And this created a shortage in inventory and a surplus of tenants in every market in the country. In cities like Tampa and Las Vegas, your average worker must pay 50% of his earnings towards his cost of rent, up from an average of 37% in 2021. Add inflation to normal additional living expenses and quickly people can't afford their current lifestyle. Phoenix, Arizona, similar situation. They are paying 43% of their earnings. Miami is at 65% of their earnings. And high rents happen not because of high migration into these cities where rent has skyrocketed. I mean, this would be a natural assumption. But as per the US Census in 2021, 33,000 more people moved out of Miami than into Miami. Something similar happened in Phoenix, Arizona. So it's not migration that caused skyrocketing rents. We can already see the drastic increase in inventory as per Realtor.com. Both the month of May 2022 and June 2022 last month had over 100,000+ new homes come to the market available for sale. These are both records in their data set. Now, if Finland and Sweden complete the final stage of joining the NATO bloc of countries and Russia decides to react, They won't do it militarily. We've seen their military incompetence thus far. However, they could stop providing gas to Europe. I believe they have announced maintenance issues already, meaning less gas available for Europe. And this could be a Lehman Brothers size economic catastrophe. Naturally, this would eventually reach the US economy and will add pressure onto an already under pressure economy. So here's my advice for anyone. Stop unnecessary spending. Become unexpendable for the company you work for and save money in order to take advantage of future opportunities. If you're a residential buyer today, maybe you should wait and see how the housing market reacts in the next few months or a year. And maybe you will find the deal of the decade in a more buyer-friendly market. Who knows? If you are a residential seller right now, you better hope you're under contract very soon. This is the time to do a price drop and invest in your marketing and exposure. This seller's market is over. Maybe start looking into renting and the property. Maybe call back all the interested buyers that walked away in the last 90 days. See if you can lower your price a little and lure them back into buying. But no doubt, now is the time to plan and take action. If you are a landlord, begin preparing on how you will react once this eviction wave reaches you. Maybe increase your vacancy rate fund in your operations costs in order to save up more money on a monthly basis and be ready for a rainy day. Maybe contact your current tenant and renegotiate your lease. Lower the rent in exchange of a longer commitment. Discuss exit strategies that are friendly for both parties. If you're a high volume landlord, maybe prepare internal processes of if this, then that, regarding the chain of events that will happen per unit. Approach current tenants and present them with options. If you're currently a residential tenant, have a plan of action. Be direct and honest with your landlord. Be aware of vacancy rates in your area and rental rates. If a renewal is coming up, prepare to negotiate and get the best terms possible for your commitment. Vacancies create competition among landlords and will make them drop their rental prices. Renegotiate your rent or look for a new, cheaper place. If you're a tenant that owes money or is behind on payments and knows that you can't afford that apartment or house that you're living in, then be ready for your landlord to begin to be less flexible and more demanding. Get informed on your legal rights as a tenant. Get informed on eviction law in your area and begin preparing for a smooth transition towards a more sustainable rental commitment. Well, that's it for now. Thank you so much for your time. My name is Cesar Villarreal at RelianceRealtor.com. We specialize in commercial retail leasing, but we understand and love the macroeconomics of real estate in general. Thank you so much.